Welcome to the France 24 Observers, the show that's based on our network of ordinary people who are our eyes and ears around the world. We begin today with a video that was shot in the West Bank in a Palestinian village near Nablus. Now it shows Israeli settlers attacking the village with stones, while Israeli soldiers stand by and watch. Our observer works for the human rights group that published the video.
The film was shot by Palestinian citizen journalist, a resident of the village Orif. You see settlers from the settlement Yitzhar, which is built above the village Orif, arriving. Their faces are covered. They're accompanied by soldiers and by security guards from the settlements. They harmed construction site which has a project, water, and then threw stones at the Palestinian home in the village, and then threw stones at a nearby school. Eventually, about 50 minutes later, the settlers left, went up back, while still being accompanied by soldiers. It's strategic violence that is intended to remove Palestinians from certain areas around these settlements, to exclude them from this agricultural land that is Palestinian-owned. I think it's very important to notice that the soldiers did not act in any way to stop this attack, to arrest the settlers, or even to identify them. The only time they intervened was when the youths from the village threw stones back at the settlers, and then they used tear gas canisters. The Israeli security forces, in this case the Israeli army, is the only body that has authority and the capacity to maintain law and order in these areas, because the Palestinian police is not allowed to operate in these areas. It's very clear that the army is there inside the settlements in order to guard them. There's a very strong relationship between the two bodies. Very often soldiers themselves are settlers. Clearly they have an identification, or many of them have an identification with the Israeli settlers.
A spokesman for the Israeli Defense Forces told France 24 the soldiers in this incident did not act appropriately. He says they should have followed standing orders and called the police. Now to Algeria, the Béjaïa region in the east, and the beautiful Gouraya National Park. It is home to beaches, gorges, and the rare Barbary macaque monkey. But the region is increasingly being spoiled by illegal dumping.
There are videos on the web that show the Boulimad dump. It's actually located inside the boundaries of the Gouraya National Park. There are pictures of the Aokos beach. There's a dump there too. The dumps are a blot on the beauty of the region. They're bad for the environment and for public health too, because they burn off the rubbish to make space for new dumping. And this isn't new. For years now, we've seen municipal workers dumping rubbish in the Karata gorges. The problem is that the region's central landfill facility still isn't in operation. They're still waiting for a road to be built. The problem is unique to the Béjaïa region. It's very mountainous, meaning it's hard to find space to build local landfills. That's why they decided to build a centralized facility. The illegal dumping is getting worse. The government needs to do something about it, and they need to do it soon.
Now for our weekly roundup of other images and stories sent in by our observers. First up, Iran, the city of Zahedan near the border with Afghanistan and Pakistan. This video was shot in one of the city's tough neighborhoods, Shirabad. It shows clashes that frequently break out among rival gangs there, with even women and children participating. Our observer says there's so much poverty in southeastern Iran that many residents turn to the drug trade for a living, which leads to clashes over turf. Now to Ivory Coast, which, like many African countries, is crazy about soccer. Well, our observer Eric Kouakou wants to bring in something new, American football. He has created a team called the Trècheville Dockers. He says the local kids love the sport, even if it's virtually unknown on the African continent. Eric hopes one day to join Nigeria, currently the only African member of the International Federation of American Football. Yes, there is one. Next, Saudi Arabia and the morally questionable practice of swinging. Saudi women already face plenty of restrictions. They're not allowed to drive a car, for instance. This picture has them wondering if there's a ban on swings, too. It shows members of the religious police telling women to get off a set of swings at an unknown location in the kingdom. It's provoked a lot of chatter on the web, with one woman asking, what's next? Are they going to ban us from the country? Last stop, China, Fuzhou in the southwest. Two university students hard at work revising for their exams. They've tied their hair to a clothes rack so they can't fall asleep. It's a nod to an old Chinese legend, a young man so thirsty for knowledge that he tied his hair to a beam so the pain would keep him from nodding off. The photos have inspired numerous other imitations on Chinese social media. That's it for this week. As always, you can find more reports from our observers on our website, on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and on our apps for smartphones. See you next time.